We get customers come through the door all the time and they say, well, I need a chainsaw chain for my saw. I said, well, sir, what do you have? What do you know the numbers on it? The drive lengths, pitch, and the gauge. It's a red one. It's a 18 inch, and that's about all they know. A lot of people don't know how to find the correct chain. I'm going to show you real quick today. Really simple, and I'll even throw in an extra trick or two if you don't have one of these little tools. I'll show you a couple tricks. Stick around. So welcome to Rayleigh's Small Engines. I'm T-Bone. Let's get into this thing and see if we can figure it out. Now these saws are a lot different depending on the type of saw that you're using. Most of the time you can find these numbers printed on the bar. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes they'll be like this little saw. Okay, it says 78 DL and 325. Okay, fine. So what's the gauge? We need to know what gauge that saw is. Several ways you can find that out, but the three numbers we're looking for is the 78 DL. It says E on these copperhead chains, but all it is the little catches on the bottom, the little Hichimo thingy-mabob sticking right off of there. They're called drive links. And we didn't know how many of those are on the chain. So count them. We also need to know how thick they are. You can use one of these tools and figure out how thick they are. You can stick the drive link down in this groove, or you can stick the tips inside of the edge of the bar. Right down in the edge of the bar where that drive link rides, and that'll tell you the diameter. Now, if you don't have one of these little Oregon tools, and I'll look the part number up for you, there's another trick to doing it. Stick around a second and I'll show you that too. So a dime will tell you it's a 050, a penny will do a 058, and a quarter will do a 063. Now there is another one called a 043, which is going to be even smaller than that 050. So very often when you're looking at these bars, it is really hard because they'll get wear on them and you can't hardly read it. But a trick I use is I'll use my cell phone, and you can take your cell phone and zoom right on in there. There's your 325, there's your 050, and look right over here, 18 inch. We're 72 drive links on this one. So there, 1, 2, 3 numbers. That's the only 3 you need to get the correct chain. Now there are differences in chains, and I will show you that. So you'll find there is what is called a semi-chisel or a full chisel. Now what you'll find, what you're looking for, this one is a full chisel, and this one is a semi-chisel. The way you know that is you look right at the top of the chain. I'm going to put these side by side so you can see. That edge right there, boy, my screwdriver's dirty. This top edge of this cutter right here is square. That just comes straight up and straight across. That's a full chisel. That's a commercial chain. This is more rounded. This is more of a homeowner chain, but this is one of those, these are the chains without the bumper links, and I'll tell you about those in a minute too. But this is more rounded, and they tend to stay sharp a little longer, although they're not quite as aggressive as these full chisel chains are. So you can make your choice of what you like to cut with. I use the full chisels, but without those bumper links I'm fixing to show you about, they're dangerous. They can kick back on you. Stick around, let's take a look at that. Boy, that's a big old chain. That's for a little pole saw. So what happens when this goes over the tip of the bar. Now, obviously that is not the correct one for this, okay? When this chain, you're cutting, say you're cutting, but if you happen to hit the tip, what's happening as this chain goes over, this right here, this kicks up. They lay below the cutter on the flat side, but as it rolls around the tip, this kicks up, and what it does is prevent the cutter from cutting at the very tip. It'll cut a little bit, but not near as much, because if you had the full grip of that tooth without this bumper link, just like I was showing you on this full chisel, if you're on that tip, you better be holding on that saw, because it will kick back on you. But these bumper links are on there for safety, for your safety. Now, something, when I was growing up, something my dad told me, the first thing he told me, son, when you're running a saw, there's one thing I want you to do. Keep your arm locked. You want to keep that arm locked. Don't be sitting back here, both of them bent like this, because it is too easy for that saw to come back. Yes, you got a chain brake. We grew up without chain brakes, okay? We was on a Poland 44 bow blade. That sucker was nasty. I know, because we had to take Daddy to the hospital more than once because he cut his head. But keep that arm locked and stiff so you have control of that saw. That way, if it does kick back, your arm is already locked, and keep yourself safe. Okay, before we start this on the pitch, I'm going to show you a little trick right quick. You didn't know you was going to math class today. To get half of 3/4, a simple way to get half of 3/4 is you take that 4 and double it. Half of 3/4 is 3/8. Interesting, isn't it? Half of 1/4 inch equals 1/8. Isn't that interesting? And that's going to come into play here in just a second. Y'all stand by and I'll show you how. Now what we have here, this is a 3/8 standard. This is a 3/8 low pro. The straps are the same distance. The difference is the low pro has a small cutter, the standard has a large cutter. This chain down here is a 325. Let's go a little further with this. So what we've done, the measurement, you go from, and see right here on the 2, I've got a rivet. You skip a rivet and go to here, which puts you at 3/4 of an inch. So that's where that 3/4 of an inch comes into play, and in order to find the pitch, you divide the distance from this rivet to that rivet by 2, which gives you 3/8, okay? So that's where that comes, the little math lesson comes into play. Same thing down here on the low pro. See, that rivet's at the 2, this one's at 3/4. That is a 3/8 also. It's a 3/8 low pro. We come down here even further. Let's see if I can get you over to the 325. Now the 325 is going to be less. If I can get you on camera and get the chain straight, T-bone. See right there? This is less than 3/4. Got that on the 2. There's your 3/4. The 325 is left. It comes out to like 11/64, just a hair bigger. Now, if you have the tool, what you do is take the tool, and all you have to do, 3/8, and lay it, and you'll see that the rivet lines up. See right there, there's one you're covering up. Okay, you go down to the low pro, same thing. See how they match up perfectly in the hole? You want to do the 325. There it is right there, 325. And all you got to remember is if you measure and the distance is less than 3/4, most likely it's going to be a 325. It is super tiny chains when you get into
into the 1/4 inch. Now, if you've got a 404 chain, you can tell that's a big boy. That's going to be a big commercial saw.
Well, now you know all there is to know. No, not all you is to know. You know a lot about chains. More than most at this point, I hope. I hope this video helps you guys out. Y'all please click that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Y'all come back to see us. We'll see you next time.